What is up, Call of Duty fans? I'm IHOLDSHIFT, and welcome to another CWL recap. This time, we're focusing on a lot of what has been the talk of the town lately. All of the roster changes that have happened since CWL Vegas. Of course, some more known than others. So, let's dig in, shall we? Let's just talk about what's been going on. I will give you a fair warning, though. Before you go to my wonderfully newly created graphics, which I hope you guys like, some of these roster moves, the rosters specifically, are not yet fully confirmed, but at this point with a number of them, it's looking a lot likely, okay? There are a couple of things that I will point out as we go along with a couple of the rosters that these are just rumors alone. Some of them are rumors that have not yet been fully confirmed by teams, but they have been playing together for the last handful of days, so they're pretty much confirmed. But before we go to rosters, let's talk about full team changes. Yes, there have been a couple of big team changes. Of course, most of us already know about Straight Rippin' and Mazer Gaming being thrown aside, so it will be a couple of teams looking off the free agent list as far as looking for orgs. But here are some lesser known ones that you might not know about, or maybe potentially you don't care about yet. But I say yet. Okay, let me just stop talking about me and let's talk about the teams. First and foremost, obviously, you guys know about Gone Gaming. I'm sure they've been dropped away from their organization, and most of them have just gone to straight free agency. Not a lot of them look to be sticking together. This was a team that barely finished within the top 64, so it looks like that team mostly will be breaking up and going to other places. Team Revenge, this is another team that, again, will be going to a free agent market, but I believe all 5 of these guys will be sticking together as they are actually in the top 32 looking for a CWL Pro League spot. Out Cold Gaming, another team that was up there in the top 32. They've completely switched over brands. They dropped out of the Out Cold side and they moved over to MHP Esports, which I believe is like a protein powder workout organization that is trying to sponsor an esports team. And then C2C Gaming, this is not really anything of note. They will have moved over to Dream Conspiracy, which not usually the biggest fan of pink and you know, the lighter kind of, you know, girlier colors, but I actually really like this logo a lot. So they'll be representing Dream Conspiracy. Then there is a free agent team that's been picked up by Final Feature. This consists of J-Timp and Rampy, who we'll talk about a little bit later, as well as Nades and Neon, and then Kalo are the teammates there. So they won't be participating in a top 32 placement round for the play-ins for the CWL, but it is still important to note. And then Team Divine as well, also getting dropped by Team Divine, or leaving Team Divine rather, and they'll be looking for a pickup, and that's going to be Nile, Kreza, Delio, and all those guys that there are in the top 32. And there are a couple of roster moves as far as some people from Gone Gaming rumored to be playing with Nile and squad, but we don't know for sure what that looks like, so I'm not even going to bother with it, okay? But those are just your general team changes that have gone either from one org to the other, or just orgs have dropped off from the team. They were just small roster moves that were just, hey, we want you to represent our group for Vegas, and then who knows what happens in the future. So those are some of the things to note, but here are the bigger, more juicy details consisting of full-on roster swaps within organizations staying the same. All right, so first we're going to go over to the Orlando Reapers. This is a team that finished just inside the top 64 at Vegas. Not exactly the greatest showing ever, consisting that a lot of people were having a lot of high expectations for this team. Turn Up Too Easy, Happy, Colchan Mears, and Zinx. This team would be not completely dismantled, but a lot of the players that were, I would say, in the realm of these were the big players, have been taken down from that. So you're looking at Colchan. He's been dropped to pretty much the free agent market at the moment. Zinx will be switching over and playing with Nation of Power. And then Raised by Kings, which has completely folded away. I didn't put them on the last screen because all of them just went to different teams, essentially. So you'll see them here. Legal and Twiz will be picked up by the Orlando Reapers, at least as we expect it for right now. Those had been confirmed as of the 19th. So just yesterday, Legal and Twiz had been moved over. Then we're going to switch over to MHP Esports. Again, the former Out Cold Gaming. Destiny, Vicious, Noobs, Vivid, and Rex was the team that played at Vegas. And the only real confirmed switch as of now is that Supreme Agility will be moving in. Vivid will be leaving the team, but we don't know where exactly he's going. At the moment, he has played with FC Black. He played with them in the most recent 2K, so there could be potentials of him being on that FC Black team. The player that was not playing in FC Black was Tom Gravity, and we don't know for sure if it was just a fill-in. There has been very little talk about it, but he did play with them just this last weekend, so it's very potentially going to be Vivid leaving the team and maybe going to FC Black. Again, this is a top 32 team from CWL Vegas. Sticking in the top 32, let's go check out Nation of Power. Slater, Mizuno, Rampy, J-Temp, and Rain 6 was the squad that played at Vegas. And of course, most of you that paid attention on the Reddit and the Twitters and all that stuff, J-Temp and Rampy got dropped. And there was a lot of drama regarding how they were dropped and when they were dropped. But they're going to be the core that picks up this final feature gaming. And then picking up in their place, obviously we talked about Zinx, but Robbie B from Team War will also be joining in. So the new roster consists of Slater, Mizuno, and Rain 6, but you sub in Robbie B and Zinx, and they will be the ones going at it for the play-ins coming up in January. Most recently, this actually just happened just a couple of hours ago. We got the confirmation that MINDFREAK will be picking up a 6th player at the moment. They picked up Swifty from Tainted Minds, and they have yet to drop anybody. So maybe looking for a 6th, maybe to looking to light some fire underneath of what was a very disappointing, I think, MINDFREAK performance based on what they were doing online. And we have no idea what's going to be happening with Tainted Minds. So this is all just the one track kind of switch up that we'll be looking at for the moment. And then as we get a little bit further on now that we've gone through these teams and we get into the top 16, most of these we're rather unsure, as nothing has really been fully committed by any of these orgs saying, yes, this is what's happening. But most of these, again, even though these are listed as quote-unquote rumors, most of them are already pretty confirmed as far as what's been happening over the last couple of days, including back to the CMG Pro Down. So you take a look at G2 Esports first. Blast, Ricky, Chino, Decimated, Facento was the squad that played at Vegas. Facento and Ricky will be leaving the team, and the rumors are that they're going to be going, Facento will be going to Evil Geniuses. That's who he played with during the CMG. And then Ricky, he might be going over to the Pittsburgh Knights. Similarly, Pittsburgh Knights will be sending Lacefield potentially over to G2, and Methods from FaZe. And again, this G2 roster is not confirmed, but they have been playing scrims with this roster. So you have to figure that this is probably pretty close to what we're going to be looking at from G2. They were, during the CMG Pro Down, playing with this roster, which is the only reason why that we're saying it as it is at the moment. Then you go over to FaZe Clan. Again, this is also a roster that's pretty much confirmed, as again, Methods has pretty much left. Crowder, Priesta, Attach, and Zuma will be joined by Celium, who's going to be coming out of the EU Cadets. So this is, again, a top 16 team from Vegas looking to bring in some young talent of Celium. And again, they played with this roster during the CMG, and it did not go super well. So we'll talk more about this team maybe potentially later. Pittsburgh Knights. This is probably the most up in the air at the moment. Lacefield has left, Ricky has come in, and Saints, as we know it, has come in, but we don't know what's happening with Theory. And rumor mill has it that Theory would potentially be the next guy to be dropped away. We don't know if he'll stay on as a coach or if he's just going to be dropped completely. On the other side of things, as the most recent 2K just happened in the NA scene, again, this has nothing to say about anything, but Parasite was playing with Theory, Gorgo Knight, Colchan, and Swarly. So who knows what's happening with Regal Reserve and that squad, which was Swarly and Gorgo. And who knows what's going on with Colchan and all of that. There could be potentials for more switch-ups here with Pittsburgh Knights. We don't know exactly what's going on, but we don't know who's going to be sticking around. At the moment, it kind of looks like Theory might be the guy to kind of be taken away. He was the lowest performer when it came to the Pittsburgh Knights pool play. So that would be probably where the switch does happen. But again, we have no idea. That's actually fully a rumor as far as what's been going on with Pittsburgh Knights. We'll keep our eye and our ear to the ground. Then over to Evil Geniuses. Gunjar, Royalty Fellow, Saints, and Exotic had that incredible Friday, and then very lackluster everything else throughout the tournament. Saints has left and will be likely playing with G2, and Facento, as he mentioned, will be coming in from G2. This is again a top 8 finish at CWL Vegas. So a lot of interesting things there as far as who's going where. If you were to kind of just rate these teams, though, I want to know what your opinions are in the comments of who do you think has made the best moves so far, specifically out of the G2, FaZe, Pittsburgh Knights, and Evil Geniuses squad. The other ones are kind of whatever, to be honest. I mean, good for them. But as far as making substantial moves, who do you think is setting up the best roster at the moment? All of these teams have been sitting in that middling kind of wishy-washy area, and I honestly don't know. You would think that Cellium being added in would add an extra bit of fuel to the FaZe roster. They've looked really weak and kind of just undetermined, I guess is the best way of putting it. They've looked really flat coming out of Vegas, and they have all these moments where they look like they could be a very strong top 6, top 8 team, but can't get past that hump. I want to say that Cellium being added to the mix should result in FaZe being the team to find the most progress. The other side of things is you want to look at this G2 roster and say that this will hopefully help them, because Lacefield was a solid performer for the Pittsburgh Knights, and Methods was, again, a solid performer for FaZe. He just always continues to get dropped, it feels like, because he's always the newest add, so he's always the first one to go. It feels a little weird to be getting rid of Facento and Ricky. I thought it might have been Chino that would go, but who knows? I mean, G2's doing their own thing right now. I would like to say G2 has improved their roster, but I don't know if they really have shown up to really provide me with enough confidence to say that. And the Pittsburgh Knights, I think we just don't know enough about. So at the moment, as far as rumor mill goes and roster changes go, I'm liking FaZe Clan the most. I'm hoping that Cellium can come in and light a fire under these guys and really add a new drive to the team and not just be complacent, which it kind of just feels like that squad has been for the last couple of years, really. So we'll see what happens. But I want to know what you guys think. Again, I've been Shift. That's been the roster changes. Next up, as far as what we're going to be looking at, I'm going to be taking a look at the GA list. What has been GA'd for too long? What needs to be added to the GA? All the opinions. I'm going to be pulling things that I've been reading off of Reddit as well as off Twitter and just kind of put it on a medium where you can see it all, and I mostly want to get your guys' take on it. So if you have opinions on things you want to be hearing about from the GA list, make sure you also comment that below. And again, if you liked it, like the video, and if you didn't, I'm sorry. I apologize. I did what I could. And if you have constructive criticisms, again, feel free to leave those. You can also find me on Twitter as well. But I've been Shift. That's enough of the wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, hope that you keep holding it down. Later, bye-bye.